Hello, I'm Natalia from Clockify, and today I'll be talking to Cynthia Murphy from Assuaged Foundation about their experience with Clockify. So, for starters, could you introduce Assuaged Foundation to our audience? And of course, we'll get into a little bit more details later.
Yes, so thank you for having me today. And we have been with Clockify for probably over 3 years. And our foundation, Assuaged Foundation, hosts college students for academic credit. We train them in essential online working skills to help them find jobs.
Okay, cool. So you're running the foundation with your husband, right?
My husband is a disabled veteran, so he's the financier of the organization, if you will, but I primarily do the work as well as my executive staff.
Okay, so how did you two come to the idea to start with and to start it? And when did the original idea happen?
Well, that's kind of an interesting question. Thank you for asking. So almost 6.5 years ago, we decided we wanted to go the entrepreneur route. We actually put a couple offers on some homes in Oregon. Those fell through, so we thought, well, maybe we'll just start a business and so we started with a mobile app. We hired a celebrity developer, and we had a lot of pivots there. We didn't really understand in the marketing realm that you need to invest funds and, advertisements, promotions, things of that nature. So our app, we still have that today. We're looking to reframe it into an employment center for the students to be highlighted and our partners and agencies to find the right candidates for them. But that's really how the journey started, was with the app and going to, celebrity events, networking events, kind of tapping into the entrepreneurial and vegan space, which we kind of stepped a little bit away from the vegan communities and really shifted into, influencer communities with public figures and a lot of which these figures that we've met mentor our students today.
Mm-hmm. And what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced over the years? And considering that you're in, a non-profit business, would you say it's harder to track progress compared to the more profit-oriented ones?
That's another great question. So, well, we thought going the corporate route is how we initially started. We were advised by several different advisors to go that route, and nothing was showing us profitable. We were, depleting funds out of pocket. So then, last year we actually opened up another business about 2 years ago, and it's an online hemp. We sell products and stuff, and we use funds from that business to help us sustain Assuaged, and then we segmented into the nonprofit route to have more survival in terms of the funding. But it is still scarce as a nonprofit. The opportunities, the grant writing, all of that takes a lot of time and effort. So we're still figuring all that out, but the pieces are coming together with such great partnerships we have in play.
That's nice to hear. It's good to hear that it's coming into place. And we saw your motto. So it says be your healthiest and live longer. So your foundation is very much focused on wellness and overall improvement of your life. So what do you think are the crucial aspects that you'd recommend that pay attention to while on this journey of becoming like the best version of ourselves?
Oh, yes, I love that question. And the students did a great job in putting their thinking caps on and coming up with that motto. It really is a holistic way of life, and that's what our brand represents from the back end. Our students are not only gaining all of these essential working skills to find those remote jobs, but they're also, they'll do an SEO blog and they might write about ashwagandha and then, okay, I'm going to buy that on Amazon. I'm going to try ashwagandha. Then they learn that they're sleeping better. They might, find some weight loss, tips and have that in a blog. And then they discovered I'm losing weight. So the concept of health from the back end is being demonstrated by the students, but they're also advocating from an outside point to the public, from a public health view. And the public is coming to our website, reading our blogs, reading the student blogs, and taking in those health notes. So it is really a holistic approach to health and wellness that we exemplify.
Mm-hmm. And what would you consider the biggest success so far of your foundation? And can you let us on a secret? Like, where do you see your foundation in maybe 5 to 10 years from now?
Well, that's a great question. Again, you're just loading them. So, well, I think, success really comes with a lot of failure. And it's not easy being in the entrepreneurial space. And, one of the biggest things that we focus on is building relationships with our students, really seeing through to their success. Building quality relationships with our partners. We've gotten over $1 million in kind sponsorships. So even though we don't have the tangible cash, it comes in forms of all these softwares, and you guys have graciously supported us as well. So it's just one of those things, making sure that your students, your partners, they feel included, heard, regarded. So we do a really good job in the online social media promotion, the SEO blog promotion, just having those highlighted points of, appreciation, and just making it a collaborative effort that makes it worth our partners' times to give us these softwares so our students can, learn how to use them and take those under their skill sets.
Mm-hmm. And so I know that you're currently pursuing your doctorate degree in business administration, and your master's was in public health, right?
Yes, I got 2 masters in public health and 1 in psychology.
Mm-hmm.
I
It's
really wanted to
amazing.
kind of switch up the dynamic and
Mm-hmm.
and utilize that in my career. But yeah, it's been a little bit all over the maps with that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's amazing that you managed to merge like to merge 2 of that with the foundation's functioning. So 2 degrees and your foundation. So considering all of those facts, you have to be good at time management, right? So there's no way other than handling all of these things without having good time management.
Yeah, sometimes I do operate from my headspace, but I
Mm-hmm.
know with the Clockify and how useful as a tool that's been, it can really help identify, where you might be falling short. The organizational principles that for me come along with your software have allowed me to be more productive in time management and just really seeing those areas of improvement.
Mm-hmm. So you said that you do a lot of these things from your head, but like, how much do you think time management in general plays like a role in managing all of these things, especially for people that are very similar to you, that are maybe doing a degree or 2, like you are in this case, and their own business or their organization or foundation? How do you think that time management is, an important part of it, no matter how you manage it? But do you still think that there's some crucial role of time management?
Absolutely. And, we all have different affairs in our lives, whether, we're going for school, multiple degrees, we have multiple jobs, we might be a caregiver. There's just, a parent, there's just all these different things that factor into time management, and, having an effective process in all of that is fundamental for success and organization. So yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And so what would you say is important or unique about developing healthy work habits?
Yes, that is a critical one that's not asked enough. And I think in that is really finding what makes you tick. Um, you know, investing your time into things that resonate with you and your skill sets and your abilities, growing on those, expanding upon those. That's one of the things about time management that allows you to figure out what those kind of tasks look like and to really hone in on a focus to really expand upon that.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you just said, a few minutes ago that you do a lot of this time management from like the mental aspect of like from your own mind, which is amazing. But so before Clockify, before you started actually, using an app to help you, make life easier, I guess. What were you doing before the Clockify? How were you managing your time before?
I wasn't.
It
I
wasn't.
just, yeah, like I remember before we really started the internship program, it was just kind of making these financial investments and,
Mm-hmm.
maybe working a couple hours a day. It wasn't really, all in the way, I didn't really have a concept of time management. I just kind of focused on, of course, my studies and it was a whole new space getting into the entrepreneurial world and kind of unearthing, hey, we need a time tracking tool. And, those do come at cost. And there's just so many different elements of softwares out there. So that's what I really do appreciate about Clockify and finding my way to you guys because it really makes a whole lot of difference implementing that on my end of things as well as the students.
So what would you say are the biggest differences between the period before and after Clockify usage in terms of like, I don't know, employee productivity and just business growth in general?
Yeah, again, we weren't really in motion of much other than, kind of making the investments and, learning what are we getting into and going to these networking events and, meeting public figures and how they founded their businesses. So for example, one of our stakeholders for Assuaged is Jeff Hoffman, and he's the original founder of Priceline. So he comes on the calls and he'll mentor the students and talk to us a lot about time management and organization and just really going after your passions and not fearing what's ahead, because if you don't try something, if you don't get out there and do it, you won't really be able to mold it into anything. So that's one of the core things I would say, opposed to now. But before, I wasn't really sure where to focus. And I think when you identify what your focal point should be, then you can really expand into the horizons and get those concepts of time management. Because I don't think a lot of us understand that, because I certainly didn't understand that before now.
Hmm. So how did you find out about Clockify?
So we were initially using a couple other softwares when we actually hired excuse me, we hired one of my best friends and we needed her to clock her hours. And so we made some investments in actually three different softwares. And one of them, there was a lot of technology breaks and mishaps. There's another one, it was just way too complicated and not user friendly at all. And then another one that we ended up settling with for 1 year was very expensive. So we were kind of scouting out opportunities as we started the internship program. Like obviously, paying $15 a user a month when you're hosting, 20 to 50 students at one time, that could add up. So that's when we came across Clockify and we made that investment that was right for us. And it is just the most user friendly, aesthetic appealing tool that we found ourselves to. So yeah, we had to kiss a few frogs before we found our prince.
I love that sentence. So which features would you say Clockify, which Clockify features would you say make your life easier, or which parts of Clockify do you like the most?
Love that. So, I love the timer that makes it so easy to where students can go in and hit the timer. And actually I kind of skipped over another reason why we made the investment as well, is because had an internship program I had to do to finish my second master's in public health. And so I found a nonprofit to remotely work for in Washington, D.C. And I was just, putting my hours in a Word document. Like I'd work from 11:12 to 3:10, and then I'd have to sit there and compute like nickel and dime the time. And it was just so frustrating with that. And I was thinking, we cannot have students do that in the internship program. They need a tool. So yeah, it's like the timer, and then they take that time and they input it into because most universities, not that I've seen at least, they don't offer time tracking tools for school, for their internship programs. So that was definitely a must. And the timer is excellent. Even the manual entries could be very useful because, again, I was keeping track in a Word document for my hours and taking those and manually inputting them. That would have been helpful if I had something like that. I love the tags, the ability to organize and to really accentuate what you're dedicating your time to is it data analysis? They have their onboarding, they have the blogs, and where are you spending more of your time, and analyzing the time in which you're spending your time to highlight and recognize those points of efficiency.
Mm-hmm. And so earlier we've mentioned the importance of healthy habits, and I'd love to know your opinion on, does tracking your time at work motivate you the same in your personal life? And so, for example, I don't know, doing chores or socializing or time that you spend on social media.
Yes, social media. I love social media. It's just a way to connect with the world and really dive into those intimate conversations. So, with respects to the time management between work and personal and keeping those health habits intact, you know, just there's a lot of eye strain, I know, when you're on the computer. So stepping away, often throughout the day, and not over, outdoing yourself on the computer. I would say time management plays a role definitely on the personal side of things, taking that time you need to, reboot and, eat healthy foods, drink some water, nourish yourself, listen to some mantras. I do that, even during my working hours. I'll listen to, water running, things like that, just really kind of allow you to be more effective.
Yeah, I listen to rain, so play
Yeah,
rain sound playlists, so I understand.
I love that. Yes. Yes.
So do you think that having this tool can improve workflow and growth of non-governmental organizations?
I do. And I
Mhm.
think, I would hope that the government organizations are using time tracking tools. I'm sure they are. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think, a lot of corporations and organizations, everybody's shifting to the remote culture now and online workforce. And so that is something that's so important to have that a tool that allows them to track time, not only for the time that, their staff members are putting in to their organization, but also to just again examine what hours are going where and how to really leverage on those advantage points to unravel more success.
Mhm. And why should every NGO start using Clockify to track their time? What would be the one thing that you tell them?
And what was that? Why
So
would
why should every NGO start using Clockify, in your opinion? Just like,
Yeah, I think, Clockify, it goes from the user-friendly aspect to the cost-effective aspect. You have the aesthetic appeal, everything about Clockify compared to, again, we were using three different softwares, and I mentioned the downfalls of all of them. And I know if you go on G2, you'll see reviews versus other time tracking softwares and Clockify, and how you guys do leverage on those points of what I just mentioned, and why making an investment in your platform. I truly 100% know that it's worth it, just given the fact of what we've been through and the tools that we've used and where we are today.
Thank you so much. So it was a pleasure to have this interview with you today, and I'm sure that our audience will also appreciate this story as much as we have. If you'd like to invite people to join the foundation or share a last piece of advice, now's the time.
I would love to have some of our students record some video assets and send that over your way. Like a testimonial, because I know there a lot of students are just amazed that we even have a tool to offer like this, and how organized and efficient it keeps them. So
thank you for your kind words back, Clockify. I'm super happy that it's working for you guys and that it's improved your productivity. That's the whole point of Clockify, to help people improve productivity.
Absolutely. You guys have grown so much. So proud of you guys and always support.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words. Appreciate it. And thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And for sharing your story. And I'm looking forward to the interview being live. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my dear Natalia. I hope you have a wonderful day.
We hope you enjoyed today's interview and listened to Cynthia's journey. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media.